The saga continues. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mike Yanek Show, episode 44. Yes, I hope that you're doing well. Yes, everybody, great success today. Hopefully, I will manage to finish the crazy story of my, high school years and growing up in Bulgaria in the 90s and my neighborhood and the wild stuff that used to happen in school. The last two episodes got, some good percentage of, people viewing them and watching them. So I'm quite happy, especially the previous episode. And yes, look at me because, I want to celebrate hopefully part 3 out of 3. I'm dressed, at my very best. And look at me, I look like a little, look, I have a little pocket squares with some bicycles. I'll show you with some bicycles in it. So I'm the definition of fashion, okay? And I look like a little businessman. You know what I'm saying? I look like a guy who goes to coffee and he talks about business. What do you do? Well, I talk about business all day, about numbers, about import and export. Like my uncle back in the day. These are stories for another episode, but my uncle, when he used to when we used to ask him, what do you do? And he's like, I'm in the import-export business. And when you when you ask him, what do you import and export? And he's like, it's all business. You know what I'm saying? So I look like a guy who goes to coffee shops and talk about business and posts, motivational quotes on his Instagram. I used to do that. In all fairness, I used to have motivational quotes on my Instagram, but this is not why we're here today. We are here today to finish off this legacy, okay? I need to finish off this 3-part series of my high school. So in the first episode, part 1, I talked about my neighborhood, about the jail. We had the jail and we had a bunch of schools around the jail and how bad it was, and everybody was broke and it was crime and it was a crazy fun neighborhood to grow up in. And I explained the concept of school in Bulgaria because things work a little bit different over there. You know what I'm saying? So go back and watch it. On the second episode, I explained like how you were treated when you first went to the big school and when you were a rabbit, quote unquote, and how they beat you up and how I got jumped in school and how bad I was and like the whole system, how it works. And in today's episode, I am going to go in full detail about all my high school teachers. I will spill all the beans. If there is a truck of beans, I'm going to spill them all over. You know what I'm saying? And I'll give you just the insane stuff that they used to do, their teaching methods, and you will find out that there's a reason why I'm so dumb. You know what I mean? If you meet me, you'll be like, oh my God, Mike, you don't know math, you don't know nothing, you don't know social, geopolitical, economics or whatever. There's a reason for that, because my school was very bad and they didn't teach us anything, okay? So make sure you watch this episode and I'm going to give you all the details. So, let's start because I want to finish in half an hour and I have a lot of teachers to talk about. Okay, so this is how it works, right? When you are in my school, we had this thing called kwasna. This is the Bulgarian word, right? I don't know how it is in English, but this is like your main teacher, right? And every class had it's like a head teacher, but they're still teaching you something, you know what I mean? So in our case, literally every 2 years we had somebody different because they literally gave up on us because we were such a bad class, you know what I mean? And as I can remember, the last 2 or 3 years was the Bulgarian teacher because our class was specialty Bulgarian or whatever, because every class is supposed to have a specialty. One class has maths, the other one has physics, whatever. We had the Bulgarian language and literature, right? So our head class or whatever teacher was the Bulgarian teacher. Now I'm gonna start with her and I'm gonna go down the list with all the teachers. I'm not gonna give out names. I remember some of them, not all of them, but I don't want to give out names, and I'll just refer to her in this case as the Bulgarian teacher. Okay, so our teacher, she's been there for maybe, so she was about 50 something, right? when I was in the 10th grade. She's been there for about maybe 25 to 30 years. And that was a big issue in my school because all the teachers, they've been there for ages, mate. You know what I mean? They're kind of like politicians. You know what I mean? Like in this country, they like when you see a guy or a girl or whatever, they've been in politics for 42 years. You know, something insane like that. Career politicians. Same stuff in Bulgaria, like career teachers. And they've been in the system for ages. But when they were coming up and when they were teaching, they was communist. You know what I mean? So it was like a completely different classes. There were stuff that you couldn't teach. They were not allowed to teach them in class. They were not in history class. You cannot teach, like the history of the Soviet Union, like the real stuff. You know what I mean? So you had to change. Like, for instance, if you teach maybe like, I don't know, biology or whatever, and if you talk about some invention or a vaccine or some sort of research that is done by American students, American professors during communist days, you cannot acknowledge them. You know what I mean? Because, they were thought that the West is evil and all that stuff. So they literally changed the way the things were thought, and the books were literally changing. Some stuff were manufactured. You know what I mean? That's insane. So those people, when they were teaching, was completely different, right? So my Bulgarian teacher, she was, sometimes we say about people, oh, he's crazy, she's crazy, ha ha ha. No, mate, she legit, and I'm not saying it to make fun of her or anything, like, it's not funny, but she legit had 2 or 3 operations on her brain. So when I said she was a bit crazy, I mean, she was a bit crazy, like, literally. So imagine having Alex Jones, the conspiracy theorist who rants for 4 hours straight, as your literature or Bulgarian language teacher. Because can you just imagine those goddamn Bilderbergs and the aliens and the globalists? So what she used to do is, we never actually got to a full class. You go, you sit down, and she starts teaching you. Oh, in today's class, we're going to teach you about this and that. No. She used to get into arguments with students, with students all the time, like literally. And because the students knew it and we were lazy, we didn't want to study. And we don't want to sit there and take notes and write and do homework. Somebody just provokes her, like literally just says something. I don't know, like aliens don't exist, or somebody yells something, and she goes into that rant with them, and they start arguing, and literally the whole class was just this, and she non-stop argued with people, and she thought that, I don't know, like everybody was against her, and they were spying on her, and like there are conspiracy in the school system that to take her out, and this and that. Like, she was something was legit wrong with that woman. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not saying it to make fun of her, but I'm just telling you how it was. So I actually don't, until this day, I am very bad with spelling. Even in Bulgarian, hold on, I want to fix my light. Even in Bulgarian, when I try to spell, I can barely spell. I'm very bad at reading, very bad at writing. I'm not saying it's entirely her fault, but from the 5th to the 12th grade, she was our Bulgarian and literature teacher. That's, how many years. And I didn't learn fucking anything. Even till this day, I have the most basic knowledge about Bulgarian literature and writing. You know what I mean? Because she was just psycho. You know what I mean? Like, and she never gave homework because, when she's on these rants about whatever the hell, she loves talking about politics and how to fix the country and how to do this and how to do that. And she forgets to give out homework. So sometimes people wrath out her like literally 10 minutes before the class ended because, you give the homework at the end. So I didn't learn anything. And she was insane, like literally insane, just walking back and forth and just arguing with people. I remember she used to tell me stuff like, you're never going to be anything. You're going to be a janitor if you're lucky, you know what I mean? No disrespect to janitors. Obviously, this is one of the biggest, groups that listens to the show. People who are janitors, just boop, 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 just cleaning and listening to my stupid voice and probably watching my stupid face. But she didn't like me, you know what I mean? Because I talked a lot and she was always like, oh, you're never gonna be anything, blah, 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 But yeah, I mean, I feel sorry for her. She was legit crazy, but I didn't learn anything. Now, I'm going to keep it a bit short because I literally have 10 people and I've done 10 minutes so far. Okay, then we have we have a history teacher. Now, we had a woman, for the last few years, she was a history teacher. She didn't make much impression on me because she was actually good. She was actually a very nice teacher, and I think, yeah, she was like relatively young, I think, but I've always liked history. So this was one of the classes where I behaved and I actually did my homework and I learned and studied because it's very interesting to me. So she was actually okay, and I always got good grades and I've never caused trouble. I remember that our history class was, we had like a TV room or whatever, which was like on the ground floor on the first floor, and it was like this huge room. It was not like any other room, very high ceiling, and like it was like how they have the seats like that. It was like a coliseum or like that type, you know what I mean? And at the bottom, so when you sit at the back, you're super tall and you can barely see the teacher. That was like the movie room or whatever. And for some reason, we always had our history class there, but I really enjoyed it. And but why I'm telling you this, because we had one history teacher, one guy, right, before my actual good teacher. So he was the husband of the philosophy teacher, okay? The philosophy teacher was a Lithuanian woman who migrated to Bulgaria because she married, that guy, the history teacher. I'll get to her, don't worry, because she's such a character. But I remember him. He got us in the 7th or the 8th grade, I'm not sure, and he literally taught us maybe for the first 2 months, because what happened with him, he was amazing, mate. He was like one of my favorite teachers, and even though he taught us for such a short time, he made a big impression on me, because he was like really into history. He was very animated. He was super funny. It was like a show, you know what I mean? It was a presentation every time. He was deep into conspiracy theories as well, because I remember one time opening the class with the statement, "Do you know what is the White Death?" And I was like, and we were like, "What?" And he's like, "Salt." We're like, "What?" And he goes, "Salt." And then he goes on a rant for 10 minutes why salt is the White Death and how dangerous salt is, and they put too much salt into everything, and it's bad for your health, bad for your eyes, whatever. And we were like, we're in the 7th grade or 8th grade or whatever. We're kids. We don't know what the hell's happening. It's the first class. It's 7:30 in the morning on a Tuesday. Come on, guy. I don't have time to listen to conspiracy theories. You know what I mean? And then he finishes, and then he goes, "Do you know what is the second White Death?" And we're like, "What?" And he goes, "Sugar." And then he starts again 10 minutes into sugar conspiracy. And I was like, I'm not a morning person, by the way. I'm half asleep until 12 anyway. You know what I mean? I wake up around, like, I kind of start to wake up around 12. You know what I mean? In my head. I'll wake up early because I have to, but you know what I mean? And I'm like, what the hell am I listening? So this guy is just ranting and raving about salt and sugar. You know what I mean? How bad it is. Now, one day, oh my god, I feel so thirsty today. See, because probably I had too much sugar and salt recently. So one day, this guy, right, he walks into class. Hold on, let me have a look. He walks into class, and I remember, so our class was mostly girls, like I told you, and they're like 5, 6, 7, 8 guys or whatever. And the guys, and oh, by the way, this is way before political correctness or all that stuff. You know what I mean? We're talking maybe 2000 and I don't know, 2004, 2005, something like that. I don't want to do the math now. You know what I mean? So everybody's just laughing and giggling or whatever because he's super funny. And he made a joke. I will never forget that. I don't remember. I think it was a fat joke, kind of a little bit. Because one of the girls on the first row, I remember she was like a big girl. Oh, we had some tanks in our division. You know what I'm saying? We had some big girls, bro. Some chunky monkeys. You know what I'm saying? But the only reason I'm saying it that way, they'll be like, "Oh my god, Mike, are you fat shaming?" No, I'm not. I love big, bro. I love big women. You know what I'm saying? Like all the women that I've dated have been big, and all me female mates most of them are big, and some of my favorite people are big people. You know what I mean? I love big people and big women, voluptuous big women. But they were very mean, you know what I mean? They were like bullying people. They were bullying other girls, like they were, and hysteria. You know, they were always like making a scene. So they were like bad people. That's why I'm kind of making fun of them. And I remember one of them. She was very like, that type of behavior, like stink face all the time. He made a fat joke, kind of like, I don't know, he was talking about sugar and salt again or whatever. You know that old school joke, I'm not, about fat people, like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it because that's the last thing you need, more sugar. Something like, it was, it was something like that. Because she kind of challenged him or something on the things that he was saying, and he made the joke. The whole class erupted in laughter. I remember we were howling laughing. It's like, it was like a comedian. That guy was so funny. And because everybody hated that girl, and I think that's why people laughed so much, because nobody liked her. And she was just like, she not only she felt embarrassed, but like she couldn't control the class because everybody was laughing and having a good time on her expense. She was like, So she went to the principal and not only ratted him out, but she said that she felt threatened, that he, I don't know, like wanted to assault. She felt assaulted. She started crying. You know what I mean? Like all those accusations or whatever. The principal literally, like, the class finished, because I think midway she left. At the end of the class, the principal was in front of the class, right? And she pulled out the teacher and fired him, like literally like 5 minutes later. And and he came in or whatever, because we saw him in the corridor, and he said, just to let you know, fire him. Just keep that in mind. He's been there, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 10 years or whatever. Fire him over a joke, not apologizing, not just a joke. Just fire him, right? And he said, just to let you know, guys and girls, I won't be, teaching you anymore because I just lost my job. Not like we're gonna put you in suspension. We're not gonna, like, maybe a week without paying you, or maybe do an apology, or maybe like change classes, or even change school. No, not change school, because they're technically fired him, bro, for a joke. I'll never forget that. And the most amazing thing happened, okay? First floor is where the history room is. Like literally, like a kind of across is where all the teachers. There's like 3 rooms, like this little. It was like this little thing with this door where no student can enter. And when you open it, you have the teacher's room, you have the principal's office, you have their toilet, you have their lunchroom, or you know what I mean? And the principal was there. So he was in front, and literally in a few minutes, because the word spread so quickly, and we're only first shift, keep that in mind. So that means all the students are in the school the whole time. There is no like, in the morning is this class, in the evening is that class. Everybody's there, about 1,000 people or whatever. Dude, it was like a protest of, like, I don't know, like literally in a few minutes, maybe 200 kids gathered in front of that area, in front of that door, and there's like a lot of space, you know what I mean? So in the corridor and the space, there was like these little fountains where you can drink or whatever, and there was like more space with more, like everything, the whole floor was jam-packed with people screaming, you know what I mean? Like chanting, like, we want whatever the hell, I don't remember his name, it's been fucking 20 years or whatever since back then. Everybody was chanting, don't fire him. We're like, we want him back. He did nothing wrong, stuff like that. The whole, like, 200 class order. And I remember him, like, the principal, I don't know, she said, we cannot, it's already been signed, or, she made an excuse. But we literally stood there for half an hour, I think maybe even an hour. Nobody went to class. We were like, we boycotted the school, you know what I mean? And they was like, oh, you're gonna get Fs, or, like bad grades, or like, if you miss a class, they kind of write you in. We were like, we don't care, you know what I mean? Like, we're gonna stay here. And we protested and we screamed, but it didn't help. And I remember he kind of cried as well. He's like, oh my god, this is, thank you so much, I cannot believe it that everybody is gonna stood up for me, and blah blah blah. And he said, I do apologize, I mean, I just made a joke, I didn't think it's gonna be a big deal, because we all laughing and we all have such a good relationship with each other. And he was like probably one of the best teachers I've ever had. And they fucking fired him, man, for a stupid little joke, because somebody couldn't take a joke, you know what I mean? And it's so funny, because now I'm in the comedy industry and I see stuff like that. I mean, thank God comedians don't get fired from their job, but I see people, like one person, like super annoying, stupid person is going to be like, gonna take a joke a different way, and they're gonna create all this scene or trying to ruin a comedian's career, And, but yeah, that guy was amazing, you know what I mean? So, hold on. Okay, so this is him. Okay, let's do the philosophy teacher. So, That's what he said. Hey, don't cancel me. Get it? Because they're husband and wife, and probably they weren't doing it because they had two kids. Okay, so man, I don't know. Oh shit, do you think I'll be able to squeeze all the teachers? And I think I'll have to do two episodes again. So the philosophy teacher was this immigrant woman from Lithuania who came to Bulgaria maybe 10 years ago or something and married, the Bulgarian guy. I remember she used to be like, so I was in the. She was my favorite teacher, by the way, like by far my favorite teacher, and she really liked me as well. I think I was one of her favorite students, and she always gave me good grades because philosophy was kind of wishy-washy. Honestly, like it's just you read what a philosopher thinks about something, and the next day you have to kind of like put your spin on it. You know what I mean? Your interpretation of the meaning of life, for instance. So there's no like wrong or right answers. You know what I mean? It's just your spin on everything. At least this is how we did it back in the day. I don't know what people study now. So it was kind of like she really liked me, so she just gave me the good grades anyway. So I'm just out there just improvising, bro. Just talking nonsense, you know what I mean? Like, oh, this is what this philosopher wanted to say, and this is how he sees things. But how about this theory? And I just invented shit nonstop. I'm good at improvising as well. Anyway, so she was like maybe in her mid 40s, but like you can see that she's been looking after herself all her life, working out and moisturizing and whatever, because she was very attractive, you know what I mean? And I remember, because we don't have many blonde people, and like naturally blonde with blue eyes is very rare, you know what I mean? Back in the day, I don't know what's the situation now. Maybe we get some invasion from Sweden or something, some Swedish Vikings or whatever live over there, I don't know. But back in the day, no, and she was very blonde and very blue eyes, so she kind of stood out, very small, she was smaller than me. But I remember, like, she has this distinctive accent when she spoke Bulgarian, which was kind of funny. And she was very, like, sexually liberated, I remember, because I've been there like 8th or 9th grade. And I was thinking, like, why the hell she's talking about, like, fucking genitalia and boobs and masturbation and stuff, like, what's happening? And she's talking about her daughter dating now, and her husband, how good he is, like, oh, she loved Bulgarian men. That's the thing with her. She's like, Bulgarian men, they're so beautiful, so good features, dark hair, brown eyes, strong men. She kind of sounded like that, a bit like that Eastern European accent I put on. But yeah, she was fascinated with Bulgarian guys. I remember that. And but she was very nice, very funny and just interesting and quirky, you know what I mean? But if it was in 2020 now in England, a teacher like that, there's no way she's gonna fly. Philosophy, and you're gonna talk about fucking. She's talking about sex toys and shit. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, fair enough, we grow up by that point, we're like 9th, 10th grade, but still, you're supposed to talk about, I don't know, was it Homer, that philosopher? That's the only one I can remember now. It was a Plato. You see why I'm so stupid? Because instead of learning in philosophy class the different philosophers, she was talking about fucking sex toys and her daughter dating whatever the hell, you know what I mean? So that's why I don't know anything about anything. The school system in Bulgaria failed me, okay? That's why I'm so stupid. So yeah, she was my favorite teacher, and she was the only one that kind of like relatively good looking, because I was doing, I was writing the teachers down, and I was just doing a bit of research. I wanted to see how the system works in America and Britain, and when I type in something, it always pops up in America, all these teachers sleeping with their students and stuff, but we didn't have that problem because all of our teachers, they were like old communist babushkas, you know what I mean? This was the only one. And we had another woman, like, she was young, I'll tell you a little bit later. One of my English teachers, we changed literally so many English teachers because we literally drove them to tears and they just left. Like, literally either left the school or like, I don't want to be a part of this class, you know what I mean? And we kind of prided ourselves on the fact that, we make all the teachers cry, look at us, we're such bad boys and bad girls or whatever. Oh my god. Okay. Chemistry. So you know what? I'll do chemistry teachers and physics teachers, and that's it. And yeah, and I have six more, so I have to do an episode 2 again. Oh my god, this saga never ends. So pretty much is there's going to be 4 parts. So that's like a 2 hour special on me talking about my high school teachers. Jesus Christ. Chemistry teacher. Yeah, okay. So chemistry teacher. So she's been a teacher from the 5th to the no. You start chemistry, I think, in the 8th grade. So from the 8th to the 12th grade, chemistry. Literally, I don't know anything. And the only thing I know from chemistry is H2O is the symbol for water. That's it. And I think CO is was it carbon dioxide carbon dioxide tine thingy, whatever the hell. You know what I mean? CO2 emissions. That's the only thing, isn't it? Like when they talk about global warming, isn't that the stuff? CO2 emissions, carbon emissions or something. Omissions. I don't know. That's why I'm stupid, because my teachers didn't do anything. So I remember her. She used to be like chilled out and stuff, and I think she kind of realized that we didn't know and we didn't care about chemistry at all. I think, by the way, that if I don't know how the system works here, but if I have to choose a school system, I'm gonna make a few changes. Chemistry, a certain part of biology, a certain part of geography, and physics should be only if you want to study them. So if you have an interest in those fields and you think you want to make a career or something after school, you should be able to. If you want to study them, you should study. But chemistry and physics, especially, it's completely necessary. Like not what, like nobody uses it in regular life. I've never used it once. You know what I mean? And look, I love geography, but there's a certain part where learning about different type of trees and different type of fucking like the plasters of the earth or whatever, or mountains, or why do you need that? I mean, come on, that's ridiculous. Like, what are we talking about here? The different type of leaves or whatever. In biology as well. Biology, you just need to study about the body, reproductive organs and a little bit, and that's it. But we're gonna study about like fucking. I remember we had these classes where you study plants. Like you study plants, you know what I mean? Like all the different components and types and different type, and this is called this and this is using for. Why do you need that? Who the hell needs? I don't need to know how a rose works or whatever. I just want to look at a flower and that's it. Put it behind me here and be a gangster. That's what I want to do in my life. I don't want to know all the different type of 27 type of petals or whatever the hell it's called that a flower has. Who cares about that? So those subjects need to be completely removed unless you arts and crafts as well. By the way, like I love the arts and craft. It's like a time off for me, because you just sit there and paint, but it's a waste of time. Like if you don't want to, some people have zero interest and zero talent in painting and drawing, and I know people like that. They're great people, but they just have zero interest in doodling and making stuff. Why are you wasting somebody's time with that? Either let them go, because it's always on a Friday or whatever, the last 2 classes, it's always arts and crafts or whatever. If you don't want to, just remove that. Then either give them something that they're going to use. I don't know, teach them how to work with finances or how to apply for a loan or something. You know what I mean? Or how to drive. I don't know, something like that. But just remove that. Nobody needs that. Okay, here you go. Boom, I fixed it. I fixed education in less than 2 minutes. All the politicians, you can steal this. I know everybody's watching this podcast in this country. You can steal this chunk of 2 minutes, apply it to your country, and make your country a big success. Okay, so chemistry teacher, she was very chilled out. I always remember her drinking a coffee or tea. She always had a drink in her hand. I don't know why. And the chemistry class was not a regular room. It was like a bit longer, taller, bigger, with like big desks, you know what I mean, to do experiments or whatever. And there was like a podium with a huge, long, like table. And behind is, on one part is like the alchemy. What is that? Tables for all the. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. I literally, thank God that I'm funny and I'm kind of cute. Otherwise, I will. I'll be in a ditch somewhere digging right now. Can you imagine if I had no sense of humor? Oh my god, thank God that like everything I've accomplished in my life, which is not that much, let's be honest, is because I've been funny and kind of okay looking. You know what I mean? Like from certain angles. Otherwise, I will be nowhere. You know what I mean? I've been coasting on that sense of humor and fun personality for fucking 31 years now. Jesus Christ. But, and you have all the symbols, and you have the big board, and on one side here on the top, I'll never forget this, was all these cabinets with all these potions and little thingamajigs and whatever, but they were locked. You know what I mean? Because nobody can trust us, and they knew if it was open, come on, you have people who are 8th grade around explosive, fucking liquids and stuff, not a chance. So, and I remember because she knew how bad we were at chemistry. Like, she literally teaches us, and we're like sitting there, like, and she's like, come on, please, can you please remember some of this? You know what I mean? Like, she knew. And she didn't give out much homework because we couldn't do it, and we're trying to do all these formulas and stuff, and we were just like so stupid. And I was always on the first desk, always on the first desk, because when you're on the literally, and she never sat behind the big desk or whatever. She literally always stood. Her chair was where our desk was, you know what I mean? So whenever she had like to write something, or like the big book where they put all the grades and they check who's who, whatever, she literally put it on the table, you know what I mean? And I was there, and I'm here. So the closer you are to the teacher, the safer you are. This is what I've noticed, okay? The less you're going to be, she's going to, stood you up in front of the board and, tell what happened the last, session, or not session, what do you call it? Fucking, I'm losing my stuff over here. I'm going crazy. Not session, last class. Oh my God, what am I talking about? And thinking about chemistry now, and my mind is going crazy. And anyway, so I remember that the only way, when the time comes for her to choose somebody, so she can see how much you've learned the previous class, the only way, and I remember this, you do not look her in the eyes. If she catches you looking her in the eyes, or even in her direction slightly, you're up. Always, always, always. So I remember I've been on the board maybe 1 or 2 times, you know what I mean? And I've never, like, literally just look down. Just don't look at her. I don't know what it was, but if you look her in the eyes, you'll be up. And we didn't know anything, and I barely passed chemistry. And we did a few experiments. She didn't give homework. She knew we was stupid, and we didn't care. And when you're 15 or whatever, like, your hormones are crazy, and you have so much things going on in your life, and the last thing you want to do is learn about stupid chemistry. I don't even understand those nerds who are like grown-ups in laboratories out there, like everybody's watching Big Bang Theory and they think that's cute or whatever. Oh my God, it's so exciting. I'm a chemist. Go fuck yourself, nerd. I'm joking. We need chemists, because somebody has to make, all the pills and the drugs or whatever. I'm joking. I love you, all the chemists, be like, oh, they're gonna be typing down in the comment section, oh my God, poo, 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 No, I'm joking. I love you. Okay, that's about it then. So the next episode I'll talk about my physics teacher, crazy. Gym teacher, crazy. Geography teacher, crazy. English teacher, I'll tell you about the young woman that was our English teacher, because we drove everybody else to tears. I'll tell you about my English teacher, the original, from the 5th to the 7th grade, or the 8th, I think. She was the teacher that taught my mom, and my 2 aunts. You know what I mean? Like, she's a generational teacher. That she didn't know, because she was a Russian teacher before that, so she literally didn't know English. And I'll finish off with my music teacher, okay? So I hope that this episode was fun for you. It's like a little appetizer, so you can get the picture of who's who. And I will do one more episode, because, I have 10 teachers. How the hell did I thought I'm going to do 10 teachers in 30 minutes? Sorry, I'm burping over here. I don't know what is happening. I'm being gross now. But hey, I'm a little businessman. Okay, listen, I have to go now. I'll see you next week. I'll prepare a great episode, and hopefully we will manage to finally finish the saga of me and my school days. 4 episodes. Jesus Christ. I was not expecting that. Okay, mate. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.